Hey Crafter, what's on your mind? I've been thinking about the old McMyAdmin and managing server instances. I'm looking at installing CubeCoders AMP or AMP. It's beta at the moment, but the screens and how it's done is still very relevant to taking care of things. I have already set up this Windows server with patching, Java 8, antivirus, and I've got a second drive set aside for instances. Typically the installation just flows through, just hit next, going through. I'm going to install the instances onto the second drive. From the instance manager, what we can do is start off by creating a ADS instance. In theory, this is the one that's going to allow us to do deployments and updates and control all the other instances on the server. One tip I have is that the usernames is case sensitive, and obviously remember your username, password, and which port number that you are connected to. Keep these things in a safe place and give it a good password, especially if you're providing this over the internet. One thing to note is I am running as administrator on this box, which means that I must make this instance as a service, which is what I want. But I have seen in a couple of places where this may not be the recommended way of doing things, especially on a production server. You should be using service accounts, as it may cause some issues with permissions of the folders down the line, especially when we come around to updating versions. Here I'm just going to go with the simple defaults and set things up once we've actually got to the web page itself. Obviously from the screen we can also go in and do things like updating the instance to the latest version, staying, stopping, uninstalling, look at any kind of AMP logs as we need to. Obviously stop the service before you push update. So first off, let's start these instances and then jump onto the web page. So from the ADS instance, we can see the local instances. We can start, stop, configure them from here, and we can provide access within configuration to this specific portal. Let's hit up the Minecraft instance we've got. So from this page we can see that the server isn't running, how much RAM is applied at any given time, users, there's the ability to look at the console, schedule the various configurations, and to start pulling down various plugins. Let's go and configure the particular instance that I'm after, which is Fullcraft. Within the instance is the web page and services, and underneath the Minecraft folder is where we can go in and pop our resources. Sweet, so check out this particular Forge version number, we'll need that in just a moment. Let's pull up the website, jump into configuration, and under Minecraft, let's change the server type to Forge. Let's choose the particular version that we're after. We're not after the latest, we're after... One big gotcha that I have at this particular moment is that this release stream, even though the server type changed here with the Forge version, this needs to be set to specific version for the setting to take effect. I hit this every time that I do this. At the moment the server jar is set to auto select. I sometimes can't get this to detect the first time round, but it'll come up when we need to. Let's give it a quick. So just popping through, putting in the usual details that you would put into the server.properties file. These settings aren't picked up by AMP by default. This is the way that they intended it. But every time that you touch one of these fields, it will update to the server.properties file immediately. Obviously some of these settings require a restart of the server before they take effect. Notice that there are two places where we can do the Java options. I prefer to use this area here where it has additional Java options because it is passed on after all the usual parameters, so you don't have to do the manual parameters yourself. On this page I am disabling sleep mode because Forge doesn't support it. But for a vanilla server this would be quite a useful thing to have if the server isn't being used all the time. From this area I could set up a specific user account for my advanced users so that they can jump in and restart the server or do little actions if needed. And starting the server, we see in the console pretty much what we would expect to see. Now notice that if you try to zoom up and down through this, it will grab the cursor back from you and take you back to the bottom. One thing I have found is if you select some text, then you have a little bit more time to kind of look around at things, see what's going on, and then if you click away, then it will return to scrolling as more text comes through. One of the nice things about AMP is that it can be installed on multiple machines depending on how many licenses you have. This is a machine I call selfish. It's a bit of a potato, but we just use it for our UAT. Testing out the new builds, making sure that there's no problems, and checking out some of the new features in the new build. And there we go, it's setting up the spawn area. Sweet! Sweet! And there you go. Acting as normal, opt myself, logging in and logging out, seeing things as normal and able to access the console via a web page externally if you set up your correct port forwarding and firewalls. And also from here you can schedule a weekly or daily reboot of the server or passing specific commands through to the console to be executed, which is quite handy if you've got something like a dynamic map that you want to make sure that is being refreshed at a constant rate. Other awesome things to look up is the drag and drop file manager and the backups. With Fullcraft, I know that it comes with its own internal backup system as well. Taking backups here, marking them as sticky, being able to use this remotely so that your users or your admins can jump in to do backups simply and be able to restore them simply can be quite convenient. Nice. There are certainly other mods that I use within Minecraft to maintain Minecraft itself, to take care of the various instances that I run, such as the Fullcraft server, the Fullcraft development server, and a couple of other challenge ones that go up and down. This is convenient, so I've gotten the licenses to be able to do it this way and be able to get some of my trusted techie users to help me out with certain things.